Hey, it is another edition of Happy Hour Friday, and I'm super excited today to give you some tips on how to frame your camera, especially if you are self-conscious about your body. So I wanted to touch on this because this is a really common issue, especially with us women, and I thought that it would be a really important thing to cover as we head into the Get Noticed 5-day challenge, which will start on Monday, which I'm so excited about. So the engagement in the group is already banging. There's lots of people streaming live, introducing themselves already. So if you haven't already joined the challenge, you can just check it out at emmywu.com/challenge and grab your spot. I'm going to be giving you daily live trainings on how to come up with topics that will be drool worthy for your audience. And I'll be giving you fun daily prompts so you won't feel like you're doing this whole live video thing all on your own. So if you are just joining me, say hello so that I know you're here. And let's dive into it, shall we? So one of the things that I see quite commonly with people who are starting with video is the framing. The framing, and what I mean by that is where you position the camera in relationship to your body and how you're speaking to the camera. So for most of us, we just, want to just get that video up and, out into the internet. And so there isn't too much thought into placing that camera. When in actuality, this is such an important part about how your audience actually even subconsciously views you and perceives you. And also it will help you to feel better about yourself speaking on video when it just looks nice, when it frames your body based on your body type, your speaking style. Hey Anita, good to see you. And once you kind of get the hang of this and you do it a few times, you won't have to think about it as much anymore. It will just become a natural thing that when you see your image on the camera, you'll just know, all right, I've got my camera set up, I'm good to go. So, just have a little bit of patience in that beginning part where you're still kind of feeling out the process, and it might feel like you're spending a lot of time fidgeting with your camera. Just know that, even professional videographers like me take forever to frame our clients in the video. So when we're shooting it ourselves and you don't have somebody to look through the viewfinder for you and check your focus and everything, of course it's going to take a little bit longer. So just have patience with that process and it will become a whole lot easier, I promise. Hey Carrie, good to see you. Annette's here too. Yay, nice to see you ladies. All right, so today's live stream is, I think, really focused to the ladies who might be feeling a little bit self-conscious about their body, or they, whenever they see themselves on video, they feel like it makes them look heavier than they really are, or it makes them look like they are kind of slouching or have this kind of strange body shape that they don't normally do in real life, but it just really comes across that way on video. So I'm going to give you 3 really important things that you can start to try out, and you can totally do it during the challenge too. That'd be awesome. So these things all have to do with the technical aspect of placing the camera. But before I go into that, I first want to preface a little bit with the mindset part, because if you know me, you know that I'm big on mindset. And one of the most important things that I think that we really strive to work on, especially as women, especially as business owners and entrepreneurs who are, you're the face of your brand. So really take the time to do the inner work and start being kind to yourself. I think that we are so critical about how we look on camera, how, people must perceive us, how, we could do better than that. And man, if that was like a friend talking to us like that, they'd be out of here, right? So be conscious of that. I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, but be conscious of when you start to feel that kind of like cringing inside. When you start to think to yourself, oh, I don't like this, I don't look very good there, why did I do that? Because those are repetitive, habitual actions that we take based on the patterns and our subconscious thoughts that we believe in. So of course it's not going to happen overnight, but the first step to changing that is first being aware of, okay, I'm being hypercritical of myself right now. Like, take it easy, What can I do? Just one thing, what can I do on my next video that I'm going to consciously work on and, really become better at that? Because here's the thing, when we look at our image in the video and we're like, I don't like this, and this looks bad, I should have done that, oh man, why did I say that, and we have this like snowstorm of things that we want to change and fix but are all quite negative. We don't end up changing any of it because it's just so much, and it also feels negative in our bodies, in our hearts, and so it just turns into a resistance. Why do you think so many of us are resistant to video? Because it's a scary thing, and it requires, yes, the technical work, but also requires a lot of the inner work. And I promise you that if you do commit to posting every day in the 5-day challenge, which I know you can totally do, it's just 5 days, so, I'm rooting you on. And if you commit to even using video more beyond this challenge, I can guarantee you that these little things that bother you about the way you look, the way you speak, the way, all these little things, they start to just simmer away. So part of it is that we just become a little bit more accustomed to that discomfort of, that's just kind of how it feels. It's a new thing. I'm learning how to speak well on video, and this is something that I'm progressively working on. So, but the more you do it, the more it just becomes a natural thing that you do, and it becomes less and less and less uncomfortable. So I'll be talking a lot more about this during the challenge, so I won't go too much more into it. You guys are like, on with the tips, Emmy, on with the tips. I just want to know how to look better on camera. So who's ready for some tips? Say I am in the comments and we will roll on with the tips. But I just really want to say that first because it means so much to me. No, like even beyond the video part, it means so much to me that business owners, men and particularly women, feel empowered to put themselves on video. Phaedra says, I am. Anita says, I am. Sarah says, I am. Okay, awesome, cool. Okay, so some of the things that, we do in terms of making videos is just get our image on the camera, just get that darn video over with. But when it comes to framing yourself on camera, it's so important because not only if you frame your camera properly, then it truly is the most flattering way that you can be seen with the camera. And secondly, when we unknowingly position the camera incorrectly, it can actually cause our viewers to subconsciously feel discomfort. So, for example, if you have your camera like down here and you're like looking down at it and doing like, looking down at your camera, think about it from the perspective of your viewer. Hey Marie, good to see you. Think about it from the perspective of your viewer. They are going to be looking up at you and, kind of catching this angle of your face instead of looking straight on. And it's just a very unnatural angle, right? So yeah, no worries, Phaedra. You can catch the replay for sure. And so same thing goes for when you are positioning the camera too high and you end up looking up at it, or if we are always looking into our own reflection and not actually looking into the black hole of where the camera lens is. These little things can not seem like a big deal when we're making videos, but for the end result for your viewer, it can create a disconnect. So just be mindful of that, and it doesn't have to be perfect every single time, but in general, you'll always want to place the camera more or less at eye level. So my camera right now is just slightly lower than eye level, but and I'm noticing it's slightly crooked right now too. But in general, you want it to be eye level because that's how we interact in real life, with our friends, with people that we know, with people on the streets. We look at them eye to eye, right? And so this is really, really important because video also allows us to mimic and to recreate a lot of these elements of human interaction that is so deeply conveyed through video and through, no other medium in the same way. So one of the things that I want you to think about in terms of camera framing is keeping your camera at eye level. Don't position it so you're clearly looking downwards or position it so high so that you're looking upwards. And also try to be mindful of looking at the little black camera lens and not at your own reflection. Because check this out, okay? So let me know in the comments if you can see the difference. Right now, I'm talking to myself and I'm looking at my own reflection. And now I'm looking into the camera lens and I'm actually talking to you. Can you guys see the difference? Let me know in the comments if you can totally see the difference. Because while it's easy for us to naturally get distracted at, looking at our own image, making sure we look okay, making sure, and I think it's just a natural thing for the human eye to track towards movement. But just knowing this is going to empower you to bring on and create the best performance you can on your live videos. Yep, Jennifer says, yep, Anita says, yes, I can, right? And it's crazy because it's really only like 2 inches of a difference, but it's a huge, huge difference in the eyes of your viewer. And ultimately, your live videos are about your business, about what you do, but the experience that you create is for your viewers, right? So we want to engage them as best as we can with great camera framing. Katrina says, your eyes are alive when you're looking at that lens. Yes, absolutely. Right? That's so, so powerful because us as human beings, we communicate a lot through nonverbal communication. And if you watch my other Happy Hour Fridays, I'm sure you've heard me say this before. You're reading my body language, you're listening to the cadence and flow of my voice. Hey Karen, good to see you. You're watching all these like little subtle expressions that I'm making on my face that I don't even realize that I'm making when I talk, but you're perceiving them in real time. And so your viewers are doing the same thing. So don't get so caught up in this, I gotta be perfect, I gotta present myself in this way, because when we have that constriction in our hearts and in our minds, essentially it's in our mind, it's when we're too much in our heads, we lose our connection with our body. And we lose our ability to connect with another human being on the other side of that lens. And isn't that kind of the point of all of this, right? The point of all this is to make those connections, is to make those meaningful connections with your message. So to answer Marie's question, I am using my iPhone camera right now. I am just using my selfie front camera, which isn't the greatest resolution, but this is the one that I usually use for live videos. If I was going to be shooting, like a pre-recorded video, I'd probably use a different camera, or I would definitely at least use the back camera on my smartphone, which would be a full HD camera, okay? So the framing part of it is really important, but more specifically about framing. Now this is specific for the ladies. If you are self-conscious, and I know that I have been the same way, and I've also known a lot of my clients to be the same way, that when we watch our videos back, we're like, why do I look so fat on there, right? And it's not actually that you look fat. In fact, I don't even really believe that the camera adds 10 pounds. I think it takes away about 10% of our energy, but that's a different show. But what's going to be really important is that you're mindful of your body shape, particularly from your shoulders down to about where your elbows are, because that part of your body will actually help to define your shape on camera. So what does this mean, Emmy? Tell me more. So, okay, for women who have a larger chest and, you know, or just don't like to be too flashy with their chest, I know for me, you know, I always kind of am trying to tuck myself in. I don't like to be all, you know, out there and stuff like that. So if you can really see my chest on like a video, it'll make me feel self-conscious. And I think a lot of the women are the same way. So instead of trying to fight that, and you know, we obviously can't change our body types, what's going to be really important is that, hey Christina, good to see you. Long time no see. Christina is actually one of my girls from the film industry way back in the day. Hi Christina. So when you position the camera, being mindful of this space, because this is generally, you know, where your chest is going to be. So if you want to disguise the fact that you have a larger chest, and for some women, it will make them look like they're heavier. This is all in how you frame your camera. So for instance, if I was somebody with a large chest and I didn't want to show that on camera, or it just made me feel like I was heavier than I really am, what I'll want to do, and I'm going to move here just so that you can see what I mean by the frame. Instead of positioning myself so that my entire body and my chest is showing, I'll just move it slightly so that the crop is just above my chest. Okay, so this is going to be slightly different on different women depending on your body type. But as a general rule, this is a good kind of barometer, I guess you could say, to check in on. If at that crop you still feel like it's heavy looking or something, it could be that you need to crop it down even a little bit more without getting too close to the camera, or you actually pull back. You do the opposite. You pull back far enough so that you can actually start to see your waistline in the camera. So because everybody's body type is different, you know, there's not going to be a one size fits all, you know, just put your camera there and you'll be fine. This will require a little bit of playing and tweaking based on your camera lens, you know, if you're shooting on a smartphone, if you're shooting on a DSLR, or if you know, depending on your body shape, you know, depending on the size of your chest and stuff like that. So for me, you know, if I had a really large chest and I frame my camera like this, what it's gonna do is it's almost gonna create like an A shape. So it's gonna make me look even heavier than I am. But if I can bring that up so that the crop is just here, or I pull it back so that you can actually see my waist in the camera frame, then that can often help you to not only look more like you on camera, but it's interesting, oftentimes with my clients too, they'll also feel a lot more confident in delivering their message when they know that they're being shown in the right way, and that the camera lens isn't highlighting something that they don't want to be seen in that way. Okay? Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions about that. I'm just gonna take a sip of water because I'm still getting over my cold, so I don't usually sound like so scratchy, but I'm just gonna say that I have a sexy voice right now. I'm gonna go with that. Okay. Cool. So I don't see any questions coming in, so I'm going to move on to the next tip. The next tip, Wendy Wilson is asking about a slight turkey neck. Okay, this is perfect. This is exactly the thing that I'm going to talk about next. So the other really important thing after, you know, number one was camera framing, making sure you frame your body based on your camera type. Yeah, no problem, Zoe. The second tip is really about angling your body. So most of us have like a good side and a bad side to our face, but we sometimes don't really acknowledge that we have a good side and a bad side to our body as well. So what do you mean by that? You know, what is a bad side and a good side of your body? So what I mean by that is sometimes we talk with our hands. If you are like me, you'll probably talk with your hands. Because I'm right-handed, will tend to maybe move this arm more or move more in this direction. Or it could also be the part of your hair. You know, if your hair is parted like mine, you probably don't want to position the camera on this side because it'll block your face, right? So when it comes to angling your body properly on camera, one of the things that can be tremendously slimming on camera is if you have the camera, pulled back a little bit. So say this is the frame, the crop that I want, because I want to be able to like show my waist a bit more. Now, instead of sitting straight on and I'm straight on facing the camera, what I'm actually going to do is actually pivot my body about 45 degrees, just a slight angle. So your knees are kind of pointed to one side, whether it's this side or this side. It just depends on, what side of your face you prefer to kind of be more in front of the camera. But more or less, your upper body and your face is still going to be facing the camera. But what this does in terms of pivoting your body is that it creates this angular look instead of like you're so bang on, which I know that in terms of width, it's actually not a huge difference. But when it comes to how your viewer perceives you, this is going to be a much heavier kind of overbearing look than something like this, right? So even though I'm still speaking to the camera in this way, if I angle my body slightly, then that is going to make me kind of subconsciously look a little bit more delicate, look a little bit more, maybe put together, that sort of thing. So angling your body can help too, because it also slims you down in the frame of the camera. So you just want to make sure that, you're not turned too much, because like this totally looks awkward and, so does this. But just angling your body just slightly, and so you're still able to speak naturally and comfortably to the camera. And, depending on if you talk more with one hand or, prefer one side of your face over another, then that's something you'll want to consider as well when you are choosing kind of which side to pivot on, okay? Now, when you angle your body, that's just one aspect of it. The other aspect of it too is that us as, modern human beings, we spend a lot of time in this sphere, looking at our phones, working on our computers, even reading books, like all the things that we do are here in front of us. And so what we develop is this kind of like concave body shape that unless we are systematically opening up and stretching, most of us have kind of rounded in shoulders and we tend to go like this. And it's also the habitual movement, of course there's genetics involved and stuff, but it's also the habitual movement of being rounded forward and kind of looking down. That's what causes, like the lines in the neck, like how I have, and, and also looking like you have a double chin on camera. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to pull that back. So I'm not going to go into like, physiotherapy or anything like that, but it's always a good idea to stretch yourself outwards. Now, when we're on camera, one of the really important points that I want you to think about, and I always say this to my lady clients as well, the point on your back where your bra strap kind of comes together? That's the point that I want you in your mind's eye to focus on and to keep tight. So it's kind of like pulling your chest, pulling your shoulders back and pushing your chest out, but rather than, pulling your shoulders back and pushing your chest out, which can look a little just extreme, and most women, don't really feel comfortable with that and are not going to hold it for a long period of time. All I want you to do is focus on that little spot on your back and kind of tense it. So you're not really intentionally like doing anything like that, but what that little bit of tension will do is it will keep your shoulders back and it will help you to keep this elongated space from, your heart up into your mouth. So even if you do that right now, like if you're holding the phone, put the phone down for a moment and just try it. Take a seat in, any position. You can even be doing this on the floor. It really doesn't matter. You could even be doing it standing up. And I want you to just like, if you need to close your eyes, focus on that spot in the middle of your back, kind of where your bra strap comes together, and just tighten it for a second. So it's almost like bringing your shoulder blades together ever so slightly. Now, do you feel your shoulders instantly moving back and your chest kind of lifting up, right? Tell me in the comments if you can feel that. Say, I can feel that, if you can just all of a sudden feel your body almost lifting up. And almost like if you do yoga at all, you'll almost feel like, you know, the thread at the top of your head pulling you upwards so that you have a much more open body space for when you are speaking on camera. Because there's nothing like, yeah, Gina says she feels it. Okay, Wendy says I can, right? And it's just, it will take a little bit of practice. Marie says she feels it too. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes when we are talking and we really get into an idea and we start rolling with it, Jennifer says yes too. Awesome. Anita says yes. You know, sometimes we'll forget and we'll end up kind of rounding our shoulders again. But that's okay. It's a practice. And the more you do, the more you will start to really notice that, okay, you know, this is an autopilot thing. Camera goes on, you know, I just tense that muscle back there. And over time, it won't feel so unnatural. You know, right now you might be like, Emmy, there is no way I can hold this for like longer than 30 seconds, right? And that's okay. But it's just that awareness of knowing, hey, all I have to do is tense that little muscle and I straighten out much more. Now, depending on your body shape and size and also the severity of a slouch, if you have one, you might also need to purposely push your shoulders down so that you create more space over here. So for some women, you know, they do have a bit of a chin here, even I kind of do on the side here. And so if I were to professionally record my videos or something, I'm going to try and position my camera just slightly higher. Not higher so that the viewer can see that I'm looking up or anything like that, but just higher so that it forces me to be a bit more conscious of being upright. Because what happens when we're delivering on camera is we get into our head and we're thinking about what we need to say next, and then all of a sudden we're back into our normal position, which kind of looks something like this, right? So that's just one way that you can really kind of stay focused on keeping your shoulders back, keeping your chin up, and holding, you know, that proud, big heart space. And that's ultimately too an energy that will transmit on camera. You know, like that is so important too. When you hold your body in that space, you just instantly feel more powerful. You instantly feel like you have a message to bring. You instantly feel like I'm worth listening to, you know? I mean, even do that as a practice before you go on video. Just stand proud and like pull your shoulders back and like own your message in your heart. And that will help you to be able to project your voice, to open your shoulders, and to really speak from a place of authenticity and realness that's grounded in your body and in your heart and not just in our head so much. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions around that as well. I'm happy to answer it. Again, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of testing. Depending on your body type and stuff, you might need to, you know, be more conscious about this. Or if you want to, sometimes if I'm going to be talking for a long time on live video, what I'll do is I'll actually put a little cushion behind my back, so it kind of forces me to be in this position, as opposed to, you know, eventually slouching down, okay? So that is another tip that you can start to implement, and you can use it all throughout the challenge. And I'm gonna see all you beautiful ladies with your shoulders back and your chin up and super proud to share your message. Ah, I cannot wait. Okay, so number 3, and this is not a tech part, but rather about what you wear. So many of us, you know, I actually hear the question a lot, what are the kind of outfits that I should wear on camera and the outfits that I shouldn't wear on camera? So as a general rule, whites, like very white whites, and stripes, or any kind of like dense pattern and fluorescent colors are not really ideal on camera. because the camera lens will sometimes distort the image, and it'll create this thing called vignetting. So basically what it looks like, it's almost like little pixelated edges that just, it just looks a little bit off. So that's why, I tell my clients and, people to generally try not to wear those colors. But for the most part, we're good with that. For the most part, it's not that we're gonna go and wear fluorescent colors on video or anything like that. Marie says, is it better not to wear jewelry? Okay, I'll cover that in a second too, Marie. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. But rather, what are the kind of clothing that are going to make me look the most flattering? So the interesting thing is, as much as we like to overanalyze what the camera does and, what's going to look good against my background and all these kinds of things, the truth of the matter is the best outfits that will flatter you the most are the ones that make you feel the most like you. Because I can tell you for sure that when I first started making videos, I was like, okay, I gotta look all professional. And, I'd wear like a suit jacket and, it was awesome, but it really wasn't me. I think I've worn a suit jacket maybe like a very small handful of times in my life. I'm just way more of a casual girl. And when it came time to actually speak on video, my outfit created this feeling that I need to project a certain persona. And while that's not necessarily bad, like I think that we do need to bring a certain air of energy and personality when we come on video, but it also created this feeling of disconnect. And when you can feel that, then that always transmits on video as well. So what I often say is choose the outfits that make you feel the most like you, like this kind of stuff, like I wear at home all the time. And because ultimately people want to see you, right? Of course, most of us are working, well, not most of us, I shouldn't assume, but a lot of us are working from home in our jammies all day. I'm not saying just wear whatever, but wear something that feels like it reflects you as a real person, as you are in your day-to-day. But, a nice version of you, but, you don't have to go overboard with that and put on the pantsuit like how I did, right? Another really important thing to keep in mind too, and actually Sandy is here and she is a fashion stylist. Hi, Sandy! So she might actually have a thing or two to say about this, is when you wear a dark jacket of some sort, or a darker sweater, something that kind of makes you darker along your outside edges, that can potentially slim you down as well. So for example, I like to wear lots of just cozy t-shirts at home, but if I want to just quickly make a video and look like I'm more put together, all I have to do is throw a dark jacket on, or something that has some kind of shape but is also dark. Sandy says, I agree with you. Yeah, totally. And that will instantly make you not only look more polished, like, you're not still wearing your jammies, even though you're still wearing your jammies underneath, but that's cool, nobody needs to know. But on top of that, you have the darker silhouette that can help to frame you. So this is also another really important part about what to choose when you're shooting your videos, is wear an outfit that's going to complement your background. So if I have a dark background, I'm not going to wear another dark sweater so that nobody can see me, right? I want to be able to pop from my background and for you to really see me. Same thing, like my walls are kind of like, I don't even know what color this is. I guess it's kind of like a beige taupe kind of color. I probably wouldn't look the best if I were to just wear another beige taupe t-shirt, because I would just kind of blend in, and if it wasn't for the black hair, you'd hardly see me at all. So think about colors that would complement each other. If you are setting up a background, for this Get Noticed Video Challenge, if you saw the Facebook ads that I created, I used a curtain backdrop that was like a dark navy blue. That is my brand navy blue, and that's why I chose that color. But then I was really intentional on wearing my yellow mustard colored sweater so that would really pop from the background. I wouldn't want to, use that navy blue background and then wear something like this, because I would just completely get lost in it and you wouldn't be able to see me. Okay, so wearing dark colors can not only help you to just look more put together and more polished, but it'll also help to frame you in the camera frame, and that is what's going to help to kind of slim you down in that video, as well as making sure that your camera frame is positioned correctly. So I'm just gonna go back to Marie's question about, is it better not to wear jewelry? So that is a great question, and I personally love to wear jewelry, more so for videos. I'm a pretty simple girl, so I even have like earrings that I never have to take out. But, and other than my wedding ring, I don't wear too much jewelry. I'll wear a necklace sometimes, but when I am making videos, sometimes I like to wear a heavy watch or a big, like a thicker necklace or something, a heavier necklace, just because it stands out on video, right? And it looks nice. It looks like there are like little points of interest in your video, and it just makes you, in general, a little bit more interesting looking because you have all these different textures and colors and stuff going on, right? But the caveat to wearing jewelry, and this is always a really big thing. Yes, Sandy said it even before me. Jewelry can make a lot of noise in your videos, which can be seriously distracting. So I recently had a shoot with a client who was wearing kind of like several like clangy kind of bracelets, and they were really pretty, all different colors and stuff like that. But she was also talking a lot with her hands. And even though we had her mic'd on a lavalier mic and, it was quiet, but every time she spoke and she moved her hands, the camera and the mic would pick up this like clank, clank, clank sound, right? And so finally I just had to say like, no, we gotta lose the bracelet, or at least lose the heavy ones that keep hitting each other when your hands are moving. So that's something really important to think about. If you are even using a lavalier, what I find that for women's hair, if we have longer hair that kind of goes down to your shoulders and will actually touch the lavalier mic, that can make a lot of noise too. So those mics are super, super sensitive, and so that's one thing that you'll want to just be conscious of when you are making videos. Yes, it is about the image, yes, it is about the experience, but we also have to be mindful of the audio when we are creating that experience, because the audio, especially if it's not intentionally there or something that is just kind of repeatedly going on, then it can be really distracting. And not only that is it distracting for your viewers, but it's also going to take away from the overall quality of the video, right? And we do not want that. We want our videos to look as clean and polished and beautiful, and most importantly, to present you in the most beautiful light as possible and in the most raw and real light as possible. So just to recap everything, the first kind of thing to think about is your framing. So yes, we want the position of the camera to be at about eye level. If you have a bit of like a kind of a double chin, or you just, want to create some space, you can try moving the camera just slightly higher, but not so that you're looking up at the camera, just so that it helps you to stay conscious of being, upright and really open. The other thing about framing is really paying attention to how your camera is framing your body in relationship to this area. So if you have a larger chest, you'll want to either crop it higher up, or you'll want to move the camera back or yourself back and crop it down more closer to the elbows or around your waist, and that way the camera can see the distinction of your body shape, and then it won't be so much focused on just kind of like, the A shape of like your head and then your body, right? The second thing is paying attention to your angles. So whether or not, you know, you prefer having one side of your face on camera more than the other side. I know many people do. You might also want to just angle your body slightly. So, you know, just no more than 45 degrees. You don't want to be like doing anything like this because that's a little bit awkward, but just angled slightly because it narrows the frame on your body and also still helps you to, it looks engaging. It looks like you're turning your body to talk to your friend, you know, as you would normally do in real life. If you're sitting across from your friend in a restaurant or in a cafe, there's always going to be like a little bit of movement, a little bit of like sideways angling, and we're not always going to be like, boom, straight on, I'm talking to you like this, right? So think about these real life situations because videos ultimately convey so much about you, not just from the words that you speak, but rather from this body language, you know, this non-verbal communication, as my friend Ali Craig says, about how humans communicate and how we pick up body language from each other and the meaning behind it. So, you know, even in photos, right, a lot of women kind of turn their body slightly, and it's for a good reason. Another thing is, you know, keeping that little spot behind your back where your bra strap comes together, keeping that tense so you pull your shoulders back without looking like so obvious like you're pushing your chest out, but just keeping it tense so your shoulders are back and down and making sure the space over here from your heart to your chin is elongated. Now, it will feel a little bit awkward in the beginning. You're going to be like, can I move? Can I, like, does this look weird? You know, but don't focus on it so much that it becomes like stiff. Just focus on it as if this is something that will help you to project. So even if you move out of it a little bit and you have to kind of go back into it, remind yourself that's totally okay. We all do. We have a natural tendency to kind of cave forward, right? So anytime you can open yourself up and smile, that's going to be so, so important and really change how your audience perceives you. And the third tip is to wear a dark color or a dark jacket, even if it's just, you know, a t-shirt or whatever you're wearing, your jammies at home. Making sure that you throw a jacket on, something that has distinct lines like a shoulder, you know, the fabric is like firm, that will help to give you a bit more shape. Now, of course, do what feels comfortable for you, you know, wear what feels like you, because like I said with the whole power suit outfit shenanigans, you know, that wasn't me, and I felt like I had to like put on an act to be professional, and ultimately that sort of discomfort will convey on camera. So, you know, do your best, and ultimately nobody is paying attention to all the little details that we are, you know? People are tuning into your content. People are reading your body language and your nonverbal communication even before you say a single word. So yes, your content is important. Yes, we want to look polished and put together, but don't let that ever be a stopping point. Don't let that be something that holds you back when you have so much to give inside, right? You have this beautiful message that's meant to be shared. So let's not let what we wear or like how we look and these little details hold us back. If we want to spend the time to be put together, of course, by all means, you know, I totally support that. But don't become so fixated on the idea that we have to be that way before we do anything, before we go on video, before we share our message. You know, it always breaks my heart when women say that, you know, I really want to do video, I really want to start growing my business, but I'm just not comfortable with it until I lose that last 10 pounds. And I'm like, girl, you know, I get you, and this is not to belittle, you know, what it feels like to want to lose the last 10 pounds, yet at the same time, that moment starts now. You know, that moment to step into the version of yourself that has already lost that 10 pounds. The one who claims her message, the one who goes out there and gets what's hers, you know, that moment can start right now. So I hope that you found this video helpful. let me know if you have any questions at all. Pop them into the comments. I still got some time here, so I'm happy to answer your questions, even if they're just like video tech related. They don't have to be body or outfit related. Yeah, Sandy, thanks for joining me live. I've loved watching you on Fix My Brand. Sandy is an amazing fashion stylist, personal stylist actually, and she was one of our guest experts on the iTunes series that I co-produced with Allie Craig called Fix My Brand with Allie Craig. So go check that out if you haven't already. It's at fixmybrandwithalliecraig.com. In the meantime, if you have not signed up for the video challenge yet, I highly recommend you do so. We start on Monday and it's gonna be 5 days of live training. I'm gonna be getting all up here live video every single morning with you guys and giving you live training. And there'll be daily fun, actionable prompts that you can use. So you're never gonna be caught going on video and being like, what do I say? What do I do? I'm going to tell you exactly what to do every day, and we're going to build from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 to day 4 to day 5, so that by the end of the challenge, you should be so stoked that A, you've gone through all 5 days of live video, and B, your confidence has just gone through the roof just because we have the group momentum and everybody on the same page, there to support you, there to cheer you on, and there to just help you spread your message and get it out into the world, okay? So you can find out more about that and grab your spot at emmywu.com/challenge. Until then, I am so excited, and I hope that you have a beautiful Friday and a beautiful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.